yesterday.
What's up, guys? We're live.
Oh, we're back.
Oh, shit. We're back. We're back for that Monday night doubleheader.
Yep. And this time we got more good content.
That's right.
Yeah. So, hey, coming in tonight here for this for this episode, we're talking about Season 5 of Game of Thrones. This is our 5th edition of our retrospective of Game of Thrones, going back, reviewing each season, 1 through 8. In preparation for the brand new Game of Thrones show that we're all super excited for, The House of the Dragon, coming out August 21st.
I'm excited. I can't wait.
Yeah, dude, going back and rewatching the seasons. I was going to be like fucking Littlefinger there. Going back and rewatching the seasons, I'm super excited for it as well. So obviously we're going to cover that on a week-to-week basis, starting August 22nd, which that should be a Monday, I believe. So starting that night, we'll be talking about the first episode of House of the Dragon. Which, look, if it's anything like the first episode of the original Game of Thrones, I'm expecting big things. But
yeah, also be on the lookout. Jason and I will be reviewing the books of the shows. We're both Jason's rereading them. I am reading them for the first time, and we'll be putting out. Whenever we both finish the books, they're really long. Whenever we both finish them, we'll be putting out a review of the books and kind of talk about the differences and just, our overall impressions of the novels there.
That's cool. Wake me up when y'all are done with that. Hey, also coming on a couple of weeks in to House of the Dragon is going to be the new Lord of the Rings series on Amazon. We'll be doing that week to week as well. So we got a ton of content. We got the next 5 albums for the Metalhead's Journey. I don't know when we're going to do that. So there's a lot of stuff going on.
Hey, look,
and the AFI list.
And we got some brackets that we've been cooking up in the woodworks.
We still got the Tournament of Champions.
Yeah. I mean, it's weird. 2 years into this, in the beginning, we just didn't even have enough content to barely even keep the podcast together. And now it's like, we have to make tough decisions like every week. Like, what are we going to cut so that we can actually like do something? So
good stuff. Good time.
We're basically doing. I mean, for the first 2 years, it was like one podcast a night, and sometimes when we had to stretch ourselves thin, it was like a twofer. Now we're doing threes.
Yeah, I think twofer is almost like the norm now, practically.
Yep. So, all right. Well, hey, not to drag this out, let's get into the episode here, and we'll get out of here.
Start this.
All right. Hello, and welcome to Three Guys and a Mic presents Game of Thrones Season 5. I'm your co-host, the Human Dart, along with
Jason Tsunami.
David Disaster. What a disaster.
Dude, were you trying to like hold in a yawn over there? Is that what was going on? I'm watching I'm watching your thing over there, and you're like,
dude, I yawn and I'm like I
was like, dude, I was contemplating just like calling you out during the intro, but I was like, I want to keep my streak alive here. I want to keep on one shot. Hey, welcome to the podcast this week. As you've hopefully seen in the title here, this is going to be our season review of Game of Thrones Season 5. Hopefully you've been following along with us here, and we're doing a week-to-week kind of retrospective here on Game of Thrones. As we get ready for the brand new series, Game of Thrones, The House of the Dragon, starting on August 21st. And
I'm excited
if you listen back to our first episode of this, you'll know that, I think Game of Thrones was kind of the things that really like created this podcast. At least, it got a lot of us talking, like this. And I think it kind of gave birth to what we wanted to do as a podcast, but we never got to talk about it. So this is kind of a fun retrospective for us to be able to go back, and it's going to be really cool to actually get to talk about some live Game of Thrones action in a week-to-week basis, like new Game of Thrones. That's going to be super cool.
Yep.
Can't wait.
I really can't wait. And man, season 5 of Game of Thrones is it's really good. And just before we get into it, I really enjoyed season 5 a lot.
it's funny you say that. I felt like I remember enjoying it a lot more than I did this time around. I don't know. It was great. Don't get me wrong. Like I'm nitpicking, but there are some things about it that I think season 4 was definitely better. And as I'm like very, very close to finishing season 6 right now, season 6 is definitely better.
Yeah. Season 6 is really good.
Yeah, season 5 is a little bit of a slog. I'll talk about it in my recap, but great season nonetheless.
All right.
Cool. So,
Jason,
like Jason just gave away here, we're doing a little different style review on all these episodes now for the Game of Thrones, but we're still signed up for those tasty recaps. So, Fossil, punch it.
At season 5,
let's fly.
Season 5 is a bit of a reset, slow burn season. We're introduced to some new characters. Our main cast is fairly stationary, but the world of Westeros is kind of moving at a breakneck pace around them. Tommen is now king and is married to Marjorie, and they're fucking like rabbits. Dany is struggling to maintain her rule over Meereen in Slaver's Bay as her troops are dealing with the Sons of the Harpy, ultimately riding Drogon to escape an attack. Tyrion and Varys, after leaving King's Landing, journeyed to Essos. It's quite a bumpy ride, with Tyrion getting kidnapped by Jorah, and both of them getting taken by slavers.
My Khaleesi, I'm Jorah Mormont.
Ultimately finding their way back to Dany, and Tyrion becoming an advisor. When Daenerys does leave with Drogon later in the season, Jorah and Daario go to look for her, and Tyrion fills in, kind of to lead. At King's Landing, Cersei once again fucks up everything, having Jaime attempt to kidnap Marcella and bring, as far as ends up being captured. On the home front, elevating the High Sparrow to the High Sept, which ultimately backfires, having Marjorie, Lancel, and Cersei all arrested. At the Wall, we have Jon Snow becoming Lord Commander. And in his first major act of attempting to save the wildling, he gets betrayed by the Night's Watch officers who kill him for the Watch.
For the Watch.
Yep. Littlefinger marries off Sansa to the Saint, Ramsay Bolton. And Arya in Braavos has begun her training to become a faceless man. But in killing one of the names on her list, disobeys Jakar and is punished by losing her sight. In the closing of the season, Jaime is allowed to take Marcella home, but she dies in his arms from poison. A parting gift from Dorne.
Yeah.
Man, Jason, that recap was Dracarys.
Yeah, it was straight Dracarys, man. Look, y'all want to talk about season 5 being a slog, but in that recap, like, that was just nothing but heavy hitters, dude.
I think.
Look, Jason said slog. I didn't say slog. There's just one storyline that unfortunately takes a lot of time during this that I just really don't like.
Which is
that?
Well, look, we can just get into the worst storyline, which is by far the fucking High Sparrow. Thank you. God, he sucks.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. It's a High Sparrow sweep. Now here's the thing, and I may have said this to Jason off the pod, but the High Sparrow, especially on the first watch, it's the slog. You get the payoff for it though, which the slog makes the payoff even better.
Yeah, like I said in the recap, it's a slow burn. And I think me and Dave talked about this because I said this before and he was kind of disagreeing. But for me, and to what Dave was just saying, when you watch this through the first time or the second time and you watch the High Sparrow storyline go through, it's like, you're right. It's like, holy shit, this guy is like, God dang, he's fucking up everything. Like, the payoff at the end for everybody involved is magnificent. Like, it's
Winds of Winter, baby. So good.
That might be some of the best shit in the entire series. But when you've seen it, like, in my opinion, like, or for me, like, I've seen season 5 or 6 times. And
I have not. This is only the second time.
I just want to fast forward through all the High Sparrow parts because I know what's going on. and just get me to the payoff. But I didn't do it. I didn't do it.
I don't know. There's just like there's so many points in the show where it's like in the history of the show where they've been able to manipulate things that they want. Cersei in particular, right? Like something doesn't go her way, she changes it. So, and look, she's the one that creates the power of the High Sparrow purposely to get back at Marjorie and Sir Loras.
Yep.
Right? And it just unfortunately backfires on her. But like there's a moment where like Qyburn comes to come see her. Like, how is not the first thing out of her mouth, listen, here's the deal. I expect you to go get the zombie mountain, come back in here, I want you to crush everybody and come break me out. How is that not the first word out of her mouth when she sees Qyburn?
I don't know.
I'm not sure.
And I agree. It's like, I'm going to need you to just, when you leave here, go get the mountain, get all of the gold cloaks, and then I want you to come immediately back.
Look, in season 6, not to go meta here and jump ahead, but in season 6, they we see one thing. I don't want to go too far here, but I forgot that the goddamn High Sparrow is still like through all of season 6. I remember now how it ends, which is fantastic. Yeah. But still, I forgot it was all the way through season 6. But anyway, there's a moment where the Faith militia, whatever, Faith militant, they come into Red Keep and they're looking for Cersei. And they try to get her, and one dude like tries to fucking spike the mountain,
and then
the mountain, he rips the top of his head off, from his teeth. Yeah. So like, dude, tell me the mountain himself couldn't just go in there and bust her out. So, I mean, look, I get it. The story's got to happen, blase, blase, blase. But I was just like, Qyburn's here. Just tell him what you want, and it'll happen.
Yeah.
You put Qyburn in his position.
Yeah, I mean, like. I still stand by that. If I'm reviewing this show for somebody who hasn't seen it, for how I'm trying to put myself back to how it impacted me the very first time I saw it, it was an interesting storyline because, wow, Cersei's plan has fully backfired, which has not happened before, and
the accommodations that all three that are incarcerated is brutal.
Oh yes,
it is disgusting.
Dude,
is drinking water off the floor.
Yeah, dude. I mean, like I said, it might not be great on a rewatch, right? Because you kind of know what's coming, but I still think it's a very well executed and well done storyline, and for somebody that's seeing it for the first time, it's very impactful.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah. What do you guys think was the best storyline this year? Also, real quick, I'm sorry, before, I just want to give a special shout out to Stannis for finally getting off the schneid there and not being the worst storyline for the first time in like 3 seasons. Good job by you, Stannis.
I think it's without question the Night's Watch, Jon Snow, Wildling. I mean, with the hard home and then the For the Watch right after. I mean, how do you not pick that
as well?
Yeah. No, I agree. Everything else is basically centered around the High Sparrow, and Tyrion's and Jorah's kind of adventure is just, while it has to happen, it's not intriguing enough to outdo what's going on at Castle Black.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have. Go ahead.
No, go.
Well, I was going to say I have more I want to bring up as far as hard home, but I think I'll save it for a future question.
Okay. So I think this is a good time for this question right here. So Jon Snow, newly appointed Lord Commander, right? And I think he is. Look, he's not an old dog, right? He hasn't been there for 30 years fighting the wildlings and seeing all the death and stuff that they create. And look, his family, like Ollie, wasn't killed by a bunch of raiding wildlings, right? So I think he's got this 30,000 feet perspective of, look, man, like it would definitely benefit us to have more living people on this side of the wall than having 100,000 more White Walkers on the other side, right?
Yeah.
So the question ultimately is, do you think Jon makes the right choice? And let's say you're a member of the Night's Watch who's been there for a while, or maybe you're a person maybe you're someone that's had to live through the wildling thing for a few years, right? Where would you stand with his decision?
I mean, I guess the first part of that question, I think overall I would be on John's side to a certain degree, right? Like, because up to this point, John has earned the respect of his men, right? Like, John is not somebody, if we're equating this to like managers, like in retail, right? He's not the manager that's just gonna I need you to go do this, or I need you to go do that. Like, no, he's the manager that's right there. Like, no, we're going to go laser line and I'm going to go help you laser line. Like, I'm going to be right there doing it with you, or if it's busy on the floor, like they're going to sell. They're not just going to ask, make everybody else do it. Like, that's Jon Snow, right? He's going to get his hands dirty. So, I mean, if he's asking for this, I feel like there's a legitimate reason for it. So, I mean, I'd go with Snow.
Yeah, it's definitely it's a tough choice, but I mean, I think, look, if there were more of the Night's Watch that went with him to Hardhome, I think they would all be a little bit more on board with his plan based on what they saw. Because I mean, look, you see it come up later on when he's trying to storm Winterfell, but he's only got like 2,000 wildlings on his side. To Dave's point, there were 100,000 wildlings somewhere on the other side of the wall over there. Well, shit, they only got 2,000. I mean, we saw a huge amount of them get reanimated by the Night King as they're sailing away from Hardhome. Like, I think if there was a video camera there, if there was like CCTV footage that the Night's Watch could watch back at the wall, they'd be like, man, we need all the wildlings we can get.
Yeah.
But it's tough, man. I don't know. I feel like I'm like grouchy enough and crusty enough to where I don't know if I'd be the guy that's like stabbing Jon Snow in the back, but I'd probably be in the back drinking a beer and be like, dude, fuck that guy. That's a stupid decision. That guy sucks.
That's kind of like where I'm at. Like, it's a tough decision because you're watching the show from a certain perspective. Like, you're able to see everything in its context. Like, when you see it through the television show, you're like, of course Jon Snow's right. I mean, it's common sense. Like, why would you want all the wildlings to come back to life and then you have to try and kill them as Walking Dead?
Yeah.
But that's not the question. The question is, you're a member of the Night's Watch. And I think the main problem with the Night's Watch is it's been around for, 8,000 years. The wall was built to keep the White Walkers out. Wildlings just happened to be people that were on that side of the wall. And over the course of thousands of years, the White Walkers became myth, and the wildlings became the reason why the wall was built. So while I want to say that I would side with John, kind of you just said, Josh, like, I don't think I would have stabbed him because ultimately he's the Lord Commander and we're supposed to do, what he says. And I will say this, in hindsight, always 2020. When John and the survivors that got back from Hardhome, the very first thing they should have done is relate that story to all of the other officers who are the ones that ultimately end up stabbing him to death. It's like, you don't know what we just saw.
I mean, we don't know that he didn't do that, right? Like, to be fair,
he has that conversation, but he has it with Sam.
Yeah, but surely somebody else was like, dude, you won't fucking believe this. Let me tell you what happened.
I like I said, I want to agree with you, but we just don't see it. So we don't know how many.
I know, but if we're approaching this question as if it's reality, people are going to talk. So, I mean, I think you have to go into this assuming that the officers were at least aware in passing of what happened.
So, for an official answer for me, I would probably like Josh said, I would not be the one that was stabbing Jon Snow, but I would definitely be like, sucks to be him tonight.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, y'all are betrayers. That's fine. That's you would hang along with Ollie.
I look at it because all the people of the Night's Watch that are currently there have all
I would say the same thing for Ollie. Man, it sucks to be Ollie today.
Yeah. What's the next question?
All right. So, which family advanced the most this season?
I
think it's a Bolton. I think it's the Boltons again.
Potentially.
Because I mean, they defend Winterfell. I mean, so he marries Sansa. So now they have a solid claim on the north. They take out Stannis, right? So they defend Winterfell from Stannis, and they've kind of done their own thing. Like they've kind of separated away from like the Lannisters, and they're trying to do like their real own thing up in the north side. I feel like they've been the family that's been making the most moves this season.
I mean, they gained a Stark, with Sansa.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think Bolton's a good call. I was gonna try to have a sly pick and say the Dornish, because they got one over on the Lannisters, but they didn't really advance necessarily. So
I think the big issue is I think Bolton's win, only because for most of the season the Lannisters and say the Tyrells, which are kind of, I would say, the two ruling families, are just kind of like fucking each other this whole season.
Yeah.
Staying on the Bolton Sansa thing, right? So we know Sansa, is married, gets married to Ramsay, and Ramsay certainly consummates that marriage.
Absolutely.
That's such a hard scene to watch. Like in reality,
and it's brutal.
I don't remember it being that brutal.
I don't remember any of that. Yeah, I don't either. I
It
remember the
seems
fun
like
stuff
that.
about Ramsay, where he's cutting Theon's dick off and torturing Theon and like skinning old ladies alive. I remember all the fun stuff. I don't remember him raping Sansa. That part was rough.
And making Reek stand there on their wedding night. He's like, "Oh no, you're gonna stay."
Give him the line, Jason.
Which one?
You're gonna say? No, he says to him. He says, "You saw Sansa grow up as a girl.
Oh, yeah,
now see her become a woman."
Yeah.
Yeah.
God, it's a good line. He's brutal, man.
Brutal.
And up until that point, he had done a halfway decent job
Of pretending.
kind of pretending not to be a complete bastard to Sansa. Like she did not know what she was in for.
I mean,
I think she started to figure it out whenever he was like, when they're all at dinner together, like Roose and his wife and Sansa and him, and he's like, just kind of shit talking Reek the whole time they're at dinner. Like, I think there it was like, oh no.
Yeah, he's like, oh, so I'm making
does Sansa have to be like I mean, outside of the people that die, like I get it. Like the people that die are clearly like have less luck. But of the people that don't die, is Sansa like just like the least lucky person? Does she have like some of the worst shit that she has to go through of anyone?
Definitely.
No,
But
because the most interesting story is Bran.
I didn't say interesting. I'm talking about who's going through like the worst.
But you know what's interesting is, even at the end, for me, I still don't like Sansa. Like now at the end, it's supposed to be some redemption, like she's in charge and strong, and I don't know. I just end up not liking her.
I just keep seeing the spoiled brat who put herself in the situation to begin with.
But that's really harsh.
It's tough. That's tough.
I know it's tough, and I don't know if that's writing or the actress or just what she goes through. Like,
I think y'all are bad people. Okay. Is what it is.
You feel?
Oh, look, I'm not going back and basing it on her early self. I'm just saying I just don't like her.
Oh no, look, yeah, that's fine. I mean, I'm just messing with y'all. But like,
she does, to her credit, in this season, she does try a few different times to assert a certain dominance. Like when she is talking to the kennel stable or whatever, the kennel.
The girl that loves Ramsay.
Yeah, and she's supposed to be giving her a bath, and he's like, "Oh, you thought you were going to be next in line? Oh, I'm sorry." I mean, she puts her in her place. So there are a few times where Sansa starts to stand up for herself. It's just unfortunate that she's always in a situation where she needs to be saved, and she ends up getting saved only to be like fucking just rolled over under a steamroller.
Yeah. I mean, look, I think Sansa in seasons 6, 7, and 8, like, dude, I think She has a very good comeback story. Like, and I think it starts in season 6.
I agree. Like she's hell bent on taking back
Winterfell.
And she is absolutely hell bent.
I mean, look, regardless of how y'all feel about the character, she pays her dues and earns the title of Queen of the North.
And she absolutely gets one of the best kills in the show.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Josh, hit us up with a question.
Yeah, so this is a very long-winded way to get to the question I wanted to ask, and it's one I'm stealing from Sansa in season 6 anyway. But do we think Littlefinger knew the true nature of Ramsay whenever he signed her up for that?
I think he did, but I think he did. At least I think he had an idea, right? Like, because Littlefinger, I mean, if you go off of how the show presents Littlefinger, is he's just calculated. Just like Varys, he's a man of knowledge, right? And he's often he's not caught off guard. In fact, most of the time he's the one pulling the strings. So I think Littlefinger thought that he would kind of get Sansa over there, and then ultimately that Stannis was going to roll in, take out Winterfell, and then, you know, he would go scoop Sansa back up, essentially. Like, I think he just used Sansa temporarily to kind of get what he wanted. But I would say it's impossible that he didn't know.
I'm going to agree that he had to know. Like, people just aren't like that. Like, people aren't just like that, and you not know about it if you're a collector of whisperers.
Yeah.
I think in my heart I'm going to err on the side of Littlefinger here, because I know he's got like this looking for Sansa, and I want to say that I think maybe he knew that she was going to be in for a rough time, but I'm going to say that he probably didn't anticipate how bad it would be.
I think it's fair. I think that's a fair answer.
I did watch this scene today in the next season where Sansa is confronting him, like, did you know, like, where this question is kind of derived from, and you listen to his answers, and it's just like,
I swear, Sansa, I had no idea. Like, Sansa,
you knew.
Sansa, I loved you. I loved your mother, and chaos is a ladder. Like, dude, shut up! Stop just talking with marbles in your mouth.
Oh shit! All right, continuing on to the next question. Which family do we feel like fell the most this year?
I think you go. Do you go? You go Tyrells.
I have a tie between them and the Lannisters.
Yeah, I think I would go Tyrells just because at this point they should be higher up in power. Like, Marjorie's the queen. Yeah. And her brother's in here, and they tried to get Grandma, but she bolted out of there. So
yeah, Elena ain't playing those games.
No. Yeah. Elena is like low key one of the MVPs of this entire show.
Yeah, I was just gonna say Lannisters too, because Cersei's locked up. Her daughter gets killed.
Jaime's captured for the most part. For most of the season, he's not really in the main story. Tyrion's in a box full of shit.
Yeah.
So it's not really till the end of the season where Tyrion turns that around. Jaime gets back, but like you said, Marcella's dead. She does her walk of atonement, and then she just becomes a bad motherfucker.
Yeah. Look, I was like going back and rewatching that. Like, I thought the strongest thing about Cersei in that was she didn't give him anything. She started crying once she got past her Kingsguard and got into the gates. Then she really started falling apart and crying, but she stayed strong all the way through that. I thought that was a strong Cersei scene.
Yeah,
it was,
for sure. All right. Speaking of Cersei walking butt naked through King's Landing, what were some of the most shocking moments of the season for you guys?
I have two, and they're both low hanging fruit. But that's why I like to go first and get them out of the way before y'all steal them. So I couldn't decide. So this is like they're both tied for number one for me. So One, it was the Night King resurrecting all of the dead at Hardhome. And I remember specifically when I watched that live, I mean, dude, like, I just really didn't know what to expect, like what was about to happen. And
that was an oh shit moment the first time I saw it. I remember how I felt. I was like, holy fuck.
I literally thought, I felt like a wave of hopelessness. Because I was like, dude, they're not going to make it. Like, what I thought was going to happen is I thought the Night King was going to, like, step onto the water and, like, it was going to freeze or something. Like, and he was just going to, like, show him, like, hey, look, I can just run across this. But then when he resurrected everybody, like, it was just... And I remember specifically, I believe, like, there's no music in that part. It's pure quiet. Like, they cut out all the music. And so you're just silent. And then obviously it's Jon Snow getting killed. I was like, dude, like, are any of the Starks going to be left? Like, I remember specifically, like, I think I remember specifically when the credits were rolling, I was like, I guess I got to root for Arya at this point. Yeah. Like, she's the only one I got left. Like, Sansa's over here just getting taken advantage of, and, like, that's it. Like, there's no one left. I thought Jon was dead for sure. Did y'all? I mean, because at this point, the book still hasn't come out. So, like, did y'all think Jon was permanently dead at this point?
I mean, there was no reason to think otherwise. Everybody else fucking dies.
Yeah, my problem is that, unlike you guys, I had read the books. But I will say this, it's funny. I forgot that Jon Snow got killed when it happens. So when I'm watching it with the family, nobody knows what's about to happen, and I'm just kind of watching it, and I'm like, and then he gets killed, and I actually, like, at a moment of stupidness.
Does it hit you while it's happening? Like, oh wait, this did happen.
Yeah, it's like, oh, god damn it, I can't believe I forgot that happened. But everybody else is just a gasp, and I'm like, damn it, I kind of missed the moments to watch everybody else freak out. But in the books, there are other people who have been brought back to life. Well,
don't spoil it, because I don't want to know yet. I want to find out organically.
And so for me, watching it, I'm like, oh, he's coming back. Like, he's not dead.
I mean, the only person we'd seen in the show up till now is Beric Dondarrion.
Yes.
Correct.
Get brought back by that guy.
Yeah, and that's it. That's the only person that's been brought back in the shows, and I think they did that on purpose.
Yeah,
because they didn't
just to give you an Easter egg that it can happen.
Correct, because if you do it like it's in the books, then everybody who dies, you'd be like, well, maybe they're going to come back.
Yeah. Y'all guys, what are y'all's shocking moments other than those?
I like one of the moments I like is when the High Sparrow flips the script on Cersei.
Oh, that's a good one.
And he's like, a young man came to me. He was broken and blah blah blah, and he had a lot of things to say about you. And you're like, what?
You get dumbass Lancel Lannister coming out there.
Yeah, with his stupid carving in his forehead.
Gosh.
Yeah.
And I forgot how much of like a bitch he is in the earlier seasons.
Oh man, he is such a pansy.
Hey, look. I mean, look. I guess he found religion and changed his ways.
Yeah, I had 3 listed here. I had Hardhome, Jon Snow being murdered. I also had the Shireen being burned alive.
Oh,
as just a shocking moment.
I think I just put that out of my brain. All credit to the young actress. Those screams are absolute, like 100% no joke.
All ad lib too.
Yeah,
they just told her to go for it, act like you're being burned alive, and all of the actors. From what I read, all of the actors had a very hard time with the entire, just probably just doing the whole scene was very uncomfortable. Yeah, because we've talked about this. When the Red Wedding happens and the Rob's wife gets stabbed in the stomach, like, that is shocking. Like, you've never seen something like that happen before on screen.
Yeah.
Dude,
and I can't think of a situation like this where they take what is she, like 9?
I think that actress is older than that.
Oh no, I'm just saying as far as her character.
Oh, I'm gonna say she's probably 10, 11, 12.
Yeah, and they tie her to this fucking stake, and the Red Queen comes out there, or the Red Witch, or whatever you want to call her, and she just goes out there and says the words, and the night's full of terrors, and just lights it.
Dude, like
so look, as parents, right? I can't really answer this question, but how does that, like, watching that happen, how does that make you feel?
Dude, I mean, like,
Stannis is a piece of shit.
How? Because even the mother, who is honestly like more bought in than Stannis, it seems, for most of this. Like,
she has a change of heart.
She does.
Yeah, right. She starts off. She's like, "It's a good thing. It's a good thing."
And then
try to talk herself into it.
And then when her daughter starts like asking and begging for help, like before they reach the point of no return, they have a chance to save their daughter's life. And yeah, dude, like, it's just like Stannis gets what he deserves. He deserves worse than what he gets. Like, yes. in all honesty.
Yeah, man, it's and I'll say this, like, since we're on Stannis, like, he loses the battle, and Brienne kills him, but that is a death that we should have seen on screen.
It's so unsatisfying, like,
yeah,
for what he put his family through. Like,
I mean, he burned family members of his alive at the stake for heresy. He kidnapped what's his name, the blacksmith,
Gendry.
Yeah, Gendry. I mean,
Gendry wasn't super mad about that situation.
No. I mean, he didn't.
I mean, it worked out for Gendry. He'd be all right.
Yeah,
he didn't get to finish.
A couple leeches, he was out the door.
Yeah.
It's brutal.
So Jason had a question that I disagreed with here, but we can pose it. Do you feel like Stannis was planning that the whole time? Do you think in Stannis?
Hold on.
Sorry, I accidentally hit my stupid cable and it fucked up my mic.
That wasn't the first time you knocked your cable out of your...
Yeah.
Well, that was Jason. Do we think Stannis, like, had it planned the whole time that he was going to burn or kill his daughter or spill her blood somehow?
So...
I think no.
So, Josh, I know, and I know where Jason's going. So I'm going to say this because I have a little bit flipped on this. Okay, I was right there with you. I was like, "There's no shot," but I did rewatch a little bit of that after we had talked about it via text, and like, it is odd that Stannis seems so adamant that, oh no, like, oh yeah, we're there, she's coming, like, oh, we need her, she's gonna be like. Now this might be just hindsight bias, where, like, because we know where it's going, so obviously we know that Shireen has to be there, but it just seems like, I don't know, the way he acting, I will admit, it is a bit odd. It does seem like he has some ulterior motives, like, for her.
I tried to look into this a little bit deeper, and there's not a lot on this. And I'm really curious to see where it goes in the books.
Well, wouldn't this have already happened in the books?
Not that I'm aware of. I don't think she's burned at the stake in the books.
Okay.
At this point, because I think the way they tell the story in the television show, they're right at the borderline of where some of the book is and where the book is not.
Okay.
And so, however, I guess it worked out for them the best. But for me, the only reason I bring it up is because they make a point for the Onion Knight to keep bringing it up. Like, wouldn't it be better if she stayed behind? Wouldn't it be better if she stayed here or she stayed there, or whatever the case may be? And it just felt like, why do you keep bringing this up? Usually when stuff like that is like foreshadowing.
I think look, ultimately it is foreshadowing because now we've seen it, but I think in the moment, man, he's really attached to her, and I think ultimately he only wants her safety.
I absolutely agree. It's just the way that the show presents it begs the question in my mind. Now, again, watching it freshly, there is that moment where the Red Witch tells Stannis, we do have another. And he's like, she's my daughter. It does not sound like that's the first time that he has broached the subject. And there is a scene where he is looking into the flames and she tells him, you know what you need to do. Yeah. And so I'm really curious to see how that part plays out in the books. Because if that's the case and Stannis knew that was like the silver bullet in the chamber, and maybe I don't ever have to use it, but we're going to drag her along just in case. What a fucking douchebag.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Either way.
This leads into the next question. It's the last Stannis question.
I don't think he suddenly would have given up using blood magic had he actually won the throne.
Yeah, I think maybe he might have been a just king had he won on the Battle of the Blackwater.
Yes.
But he doesn't. And from that point on, yes, he used blood magic to kill Renly. But really from that point forward, like he is so bought into like, it's my destiny. I have to do this because this is my destiny. I'm willing to do anything because this is my destiny. It's just like, you just keep going down that road. And ultimately the reason why he lost the Battle of Winterfell is because he sacrificed Shireen. Yeah, and half the army left in the middle of the night. You're like, dude, fuck this guy. Now the ice didn't melt.
I mean, the appeal to that is, this dude's willing to do anything to kind of get there and take over. So there's part of me that at least appreciates how much desire he's got.
I don't know,
but ultimately, I agree with you guys. He'd be a terrible king.
I've never liked leaders who rule via iron fist. Right? I've never respected that.
Yeah. So I do have one more question before we get into some of the rapid fire questions, but this is more of, it's going to be wrapped into more of a larger conversation. So we didn't really spend a ton of time talking about Dany this season and where she's at, and Tyrion and stuff like that, right? This is like season 4 was a big Tyrion season. Again, this is Tyrion kind of going to the mid card, if you want to use wrestling terminology. So just overall, what do you guys feel about the Dany, Tyrion, Jorah, Sons of the Harpy storyline this season?
I think it is. I'm looking forward to getting to this point in the books, and assuming it's even in the books, and because I feel like from a show standpoint, it's very obvious it seems as though this is where they have the least amount of material to work with. Because I despise this storyline. I want to fast forward pretty much every scene that takes place over there. Like, I'm just not interested in Marine and Slaver's Bay and all that stuff. Like, it's cool at first, but it overstays its welcome for me, like, pretty quick.
I would say that at this point in the show, I still enjoy Tyrion. Although he truly is now just he's, I don't want to say like a one-dimensional character, but he can no longer just fall back on a Lannister always pays his debts, because he's no longer he's a Lannister in name only. So yeah, he's being totally judged on every point of advice that he gives Daenerys.
Hot take: after season 4, Tyrion is a literal like shell of his former self in terms of character. Like,
yeah,
he's
now would you be willing to accept that as the reason why he's the shell of his former self is because of what he went through?
No, I think he's not interesting. I think
it's a writer's problem.
I think it's a writing problem. I think they ran out of material. And they didn't. I think from this moment on, they essentially turned Tyrion into comic relief. Like, yeah, they give him a handful of moments, but Like, dude, he has always been, most of the time, the smartest guy in the room. And, like, from season 5 on, all he does is make mistakes. And it's so annoying, the way they write his character. I hate it. I despise the way Tyrion is written pretty much from season 5 onward, outside of a handful of moments.
You know, I would tell you one thing that I really feel like in rewatching this, I've noticed a little bit more, but the strength of the show for me is often when two random people break up into pairs and they travel together, right? And you get like some character building that way. I mean, you got Jaime and Brienne, you got the Hound and Arya, you get Jorah and Tyrion, right? Like, those are always interesting like mashups. Like, you wouldn't think those would work well together, and they always end up being super interesting.
Yeah.
So I think that part of the storyline was very interesting to me, more so than be some of Daenerys's story. But so going back to the question at hand here, so ultimately we've seen a few seasons of Dany here, and she's been building her army. We saw, I think it was in season 3, where she picks up the Unsullied, right?
Yeah.
And the Unsullied are presented as being like the best of the best of the best, sir, with honors, right? Like, these are absolute killing machines. And we see them, like, we don't really see them a ton in open combat, but they take a bunch of cities along the way, and things are going smoothly. So I think you're still made to believe that the Unsullied are as advertised.
Yeah.
But then we get to Marine here, and we get the Sons of the Harpy, which, you know, they don't appear to be like well trained, like, you know, specifically placed individuals just hiding in like sleeper cells, right? Like, I think these are just average people that are rising up,
And most of them just have, like, knives, like short weaponry.
Yeah, dude, and they're wrecking the shit out of these Unsullied, man. Like, even Grey Worm, like, barely makes it. I mean, granted, Grey Worm took down like 7 or 8 by himself. I don't want to shit on Grey Worm here, but, you know, we saw him struggle a little bit as well. So the question, Unsullied, are we sure they're good?
They are not written well in the show. They're written as badasses initially, and then again, as we run out of book material, like, I don't know if the writers of the show are just afraid to, like, oh, we can't make them overpowered. Now, would it have been better, and I thought about this, would it have been better in the scenes with the Sons of the Harpy if they doubled the number of Sons of the Harpy to make it, like, overwhelming? Like, that's how the Sons of the Harpy won, right? Through numbers.
Yeah.
I agree.
I think that would be a better representation, but yeah, there's so many of them that just, I mean, it's like watching the Stormtroopers almost. There's so many of them that just die in one-on-one combat.
Yeah, I'm in the realm of believing that they're overhyped. Like, we see, I mean, there's a couple of episodes totally devoted to hyping these guys up. Like, one of them gets his nipple just popped right off. He doesn't even flinch.
Yeah.
And to what you're saying is that from that point, especially when they get to Marine, like, they're dying by the droves. And it's like the scene that you brought up with Grey Worm, where we lose Barristan the Bold. Barristan takes down 6, 7, 8 of them. Grey Worm takes down 6, 7, or 8 of them. But there's like 5 other Unsullied in there that don't kill anybody. They just get their throat slashed, stabbed up against the wall. That's it. They're just gone. Like, I don't know. I just, and then I can't think of anything else that happens for the rest of the show that is a focal point of showing you that the Unsullied are the best of the best of the best.
I mean, the only time the Unsullied really, like, kind of prove anything is during the Long Night episode, because they're the ones who mostly don't die.
Well, we'll get to that, but I mean, when you just send off a whole horde of Dothraki screamers into the night, what a dumb plan that was.
Hey, look, they did it for the shot. They didn't do it for the smart writing.
Hey, listen,
it's gonna look
really
cool.
Dark out there, but it's gonna look really cool.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So, all right, quick rapid fire here. Favorite character?
Jon Snow.
I agree. Jon Snow, finally.
I went with Arya, but I had a special honorable mention for Marjorie just because she's fucking sticking it to Cersei at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah. All right. Least favorite character?
High Sparrow.
Stannis.
Stannis. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Stannis
Best,
burned his daughter, so yeah.
There you go. Best death. I'm going for Meryn Trant.
Oh, in
Arya,
the
Arya
brothel?
kills the shit out of that dude.
Oh, when she stabs him in the eyes.
Yeah.
That's probably. Now, if the definition of best, if the definition here is the death that was most like that affected me the most, it would be Shireen's, for sure.
What about? Let's see. No, damn it, man. Like I'm just gonna stay away from the Shireen one.
Yeah, the show does a good job of. Look, you already hate Meryn Trant anyway, but they do a really good job of giving you like 20% extra disgust with this guy before he gets killed, just to juice it up a little bit more whenever she's bringing in all the girls, and he's like young guy, or no, he's like too old.
Yeah,
and it's like
really like Motorhead.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, he's the worst one.
Yeah.
Or best death, I should say.
So.
Best death.
All right, so that was the last question I had. So that was it for season 5 there. So here's the way it's going to work going forward. We're gonna have a season 6 next week, and then the week after that we're doing season 7 and 8 together since they're a little bit shorter. So you guys are gonna have to kick it in the hyperdrive. Well, Dave, you're probably almost there. I'm almost done with season 6. The Fossil's gonna have to kick it in the hyperdrive.
Yeah, I'm on episode 5 of season 6.
Oh, okay, you're moving. So the next 2 weeks, we're going to finish this thing out, and that should put us right on time with the release of House of the Dragon. So super excited for that. Man, it's been a good rewatch so far. I'm almost scared to get into season 7 and 8 and feel that disappointment again. Maybe it'll be less disappointment since we know what's coming.
Season 7 is good, I will tell you.
Now, I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off there, but I was just thinking about something that we've been all talking about. This may be a good opportunity for you guys to really introduce your theory, because now it's really going to come into play over the next 3 seasons with Bran and the Three-Eyed Raven.
Yeah, I think we're saving that for season 6. Yeah.
Okay, so we'll talk about that next week.
Yeah.
Evil Bran.
Okay. All right. Well, hey, cliffhanger there. Tune in next week if you want to hear our theory on Bran here. So, in the meantime, see you next week. Live long and prosper.
Take it easy, everybody.
Later.
See you.